Welcome to the Buddy and Friends podcast, a podcast about performers. Let's get on with the show.
Hello and welcome back to Buddy and Friends. I'm your host, Buddy Katz. If you not know who I am, I'm a Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury impersonator. Today, all the way from Australia, I have a very, very special guest. If he's a performer, singer, dancer, you name it. He is known from South America for those kids in South America as the Red Wiggle for us in the Wiggles community. We all know him as one of the Los Wiggles members. Frank, how you doing, Frank?
I'm great, buddy. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
It's such an honor to have you on the show. And by the way, love the Wiggle shirt, your elephant shirt representing the Wiggles today in the interview. It's such an honor to have you on the show. And for many of my guests who probably will know who you are or don't know who you are the Red Wiggle from the Spanish-speaking Wiggles for many
Correct.
for many of our guests. Um, and also you're also a singer and performer yourself in your own way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess those two worlds intersected when I joined the Wiggles when they were looking for performers to do the Spanish version, and so it was very exciting to bring my acting ability, my acting expertise, and my love for singing, and most importantly, my love for connecting with children and to be a part of their educational journey. So all of those things were really exciting for me when I decided to embark upon that journey that has been those Wiggles.
Yes. Um, let's start with your early life. So what was your early introduction into performing and how did it inspire you throughout your life?
I tell you, I I am one of those people who respects performers because I had this thirst for performing as a child. I always thought I wanted to be on stage or in front of the camera or behind the microphone. As it is, I just left the studio. I was doing my weekly radio show, and I was remembering that as a little boy when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, back in my school in Venezuela, where I'm from, we used to do a weekly kind of broadcast. You wouldn't call it a broadcast, but it was just through the speakers in the primary school, and we'll tell stories and we'll have a bit of a like a newspaper. And I was one of the newsreaders of the newspaper. And whenever there was a celebration, whenever there was a special performance, I would always put my hand up to be a part of the performing group. So through that, I was always singing or dancing. But later in life, I decided to take it seriously, and I joined a theater group in Venezuela. It was called the Teja Group, and this was like a series of workshop for young actors. So I did that, and I enjoyed it very much because it introduced me to the the art of theater and the importance of performance. And so I study, movement and dancing. And to be serious, whenever I look back in my life, the when I was in the studio and I was able to complete a choreography, it was such a high, it was such an incredible feeling to be able to follow the steps and complete the steps. For one reason or another, I guess my family wasn't super keen on me pursuing a performance career or a career as a
Hmm.
performer. So they thought that because I had really good grades, I should do law or medicine or something like that. So to be fair, I chose journalism as my career because I thought it was the closest thing that I could have to the performing arts. And although I continued to perform, I took my journalism career, I guess, seriously and became like a radio broadcaster. But later on, whenever I had the opportunity to go back and do it seriously, I did that. And so when by the time the Wiggles opportunity came up, and it was good because it was, in a way, it encompassed singing and dancing and presenting with an educational edge to it.
Yeah,
So it was almost like making a difference. It was fun.
interesting. Yeah, that's great. From being like a journalist and also a performer, that's like two different worlds just coming together.
Very much.
Um, Around 2005, you became the Red Wiggle for the Spanish-speaking Wiggles, also known as Los Wiggles. What was that process like for auditions and becoming the Red Wiggle?
I tell you, buddy, it was a very interesting process. The reason being that by the time I migrated to Australia, when I was living here, I didn't have little kids, right? So I was an adult, but I didn't have little kids. In Australia, as it is around the world, um, the 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 closeness of the Wiggles to it's not only for the children, but it's also to the parents, because the parents watch the Wiggles, so the
Yes.
parents know very much everything that is to be known about the Wiggles. But I didn't have that benefit. So I tell you the story. I was obviously I had an agent, and my agent used to call me for castings and television commercials or bits and parts in movies or television, at the time I was studying at university. I was doing a postgrad in marketing communications, and I was in the car as a passenger with a friend, a very, very, very close friend. And my phone rang, and it was my agent. And my agent was telling me that there was interest for this part, and they were interested in me because they were looking for a performer who could speak Spanish fluently, uh, actually someone who had Spanish as his first language. And roles for Spanish speaking parts in Australia are not that abundant. It's not like in America, where it's really, really important
Yeah.
to speak Spanish. So I first got excited because I got to perform in Spanish, but then the agent was telling me that it was a children's show, and 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 then he said to me, is to do a version of the Wiggles. So I repeated that, and I just didn't know. So I said out loud on the phone, "What was that? The Wiggles?" So my friend, who was a mother and who had two little kids, she asked me to hang up and tell him that you call him later. So I said, "Look, at first, to be honest, buddy, I tell you, at first I said, I don't think I'm the right person,
Oh,
because I don't know." And so, but then my friend said, uh, call him back, tell him that you'd call him back. So I hung up, and then my friend said, "What was it all about it?" And I said, "Well, it's my agent. He wants me to be in a group that it's adults, but singing children's songs, and and he told me that it's something called the Wiggles." And she said, "And you don't know who the Wiggles are? In which planet do you live? You live under a rock?" And I said, I don't know. Do I need to know? Should I know who the Wiggles are?" And then she said, "Of course, everybody knows who the Wiggles are." And then she said, "Oh, I see. You don't have little kids. Of course, you don't know." Anyway, she said, you must say yes. This is going to be an experience, a life-changing experience. You are going to love it. And then well, I then, of course, after that, I contacted my agent back, and I said, "Look, I would love to be considered. I love to be considered." What happened immediately after that was also very interesting, buddy, because an open audition, and everybody from the Latin American world and the Latin American community in Australia attended the audition. Everybody who was in the performing arts, all singers, musicians, dancers from the Latin American community, turned up for the auditions. Um, and the auditions were even all this process was broadcast on television, because the Wiggles are such a big thing in Australia and the world. Anyway, as I'm going through this, and they had, you had the casting where you have to go into a room and sing a song or follow a choreography or tell a story to the camera. There was this thing inside me, this kind of my competitive spirit. But
Hmm.
these days, I really wanted to get the part. I really wanted to be in part of the Wiggles. Second call, there was a second call, and then for people who did well at the auditions, were invited to a second call. And at this time, they they put us in something called Wiggles Camp, but it was actually a real, you know, a week or two where all of the actors, dancers, performers were got together and would be doing, um, singing or performing. And I guess what they were trying to ascertain, and the Wiggles would come to the audition, and all the Wiggles would be there and giving us tips and telling us about their experience or talking about what it was like to be a Wiggle. And then finally came to the pointy end of Wiggles camp, and that was when they decided who was going to have the lead roles, and that's when they called Fernandito and Zoe and Kathy and myself, and they gave us the honor of becoming Los Wiggles.
There you go. That was the next question. Like, do you know who the Wiggles before joining? But I feel like if you're in Australia, you have to. It's like probably like the law. You have to know who the Wiggles are at this point.
Absolutely. Well, only later, when as part of my research, because as an actor, of course, you want to research and you want to know, you want to understand the character. So, of course, after this afternoon, when my agent called the first time, I rushed and started to, watching things. And remember, this was happening, and I think this was in 2006.
Yeah, about that
So
time.
there wasn't all of the material like now, where you can go online and you can see the videos and you can watch the episodes and all of that. So, but the Wiggles were on television here every morning at 7 o'clock. So during the entire time before the auditions, I was devouring every episode and singing in front of the camera, trying to memorize the songs, and it was really lovely when they asked me. I guess I guess I can share this with you and your listeners. Originally, I believe that originally I was meant to be the Blue Wiggle.
Oh, okay.
I was meant to be the Blue Wiggle. However, as Wiggles, and this is what my colleagues in the company told me, but as the Wiggles camp went on, and they saw that I was so committed, I loved storytelling, and so the character Francisco loved animals and loved talking about the animals and loved talking about music. So they decided that it was going to be I was going to be better suited to becoming the Red Wiggle.
Hmm. Yeah, because I was always wondering. It's like, did he ever like get you to like choose like which one? Okay, you're going to be the red one. You're going to be the yellow one. That's
They
a.
were like that. I think they wanted to, and I guess during the Wiggles camp, they match different participants. So they had different groups. I remember, um, I think I forget the name now, but there was one of my friends called Mauricio Alpizar. Mauricio was a fantastic dancer, the best dancer. Not so great a singer, but he was a great dancer. At one point, I think there were talks about, because they would pair us in different groups just to see what the dynamics and the chemistry between the four people were. How was the dynamics and the chemistry? So at one point, I was there with Mauricio and with somebody else from Colombia, and then sometimes they would have two girls, two boys, until at the very end, it turned out to be Kathy, Zoe, and Fernandito and myself.
Hmm. Well, here's the main question I really want to ask you. Do you actually know how to play guitar?
I knew you were going to ask me that question. And I tell you what, I am very truthful. I did get lots of lessons to play the guitar. Where's my guitar? I think my guitar is it's back behind me. But I'm not a great guitarist, right? I'm not a great guitarist. So many times when you see the close-ups of
Yeah.
me playing the guitar, it's Fernando's father
Okay.
who is Fernando Senior, who's actually playing, and I had to give him my ring so that he could be shown. The one thing I'm very good at, I think, is the air guitar. I do an excellent air guitar. So
That's
when you
what I
see the
was saying.
videos of the
Yes.
when you see the videos of the big concert, and I'm just going nuts. I have to thank because the Wiggles were really good. They provided us with singing coaches, guitar lessons, drumming lessons, piano lessons. It's an extraordinary organization to be a part of. They're very nurturing. They're very careful about your journey as an actor, and they're very truthful. They really want you to do really, really well. Another thing I know you're gonna ask me is if I drive boats or not.
Yes, that's the other thing. Do you know how to drive the big red boat?
Well, I tell you that, buddy. When I was in the hotel room during filming, and as an actor, you receive your script,
Yeah.
and you're learning your script, and you're reading the script. And at one point, I think I had like 3 scripts ahead of time, and then I had another note from my agent saying that I had to get my boat driving license, and I panicked because at the time I didn't even know how to drive a car,
Hmm.
let alone a boat. But I was so excited that I wanted to be the captain of the boat that um, I went to boat driving school over a number of weekends, and and I managed to then become proficient in driving. So I do drive the boat,
Okay. Yes.
and it was beautiful. And I tell you a story. One day we're driving in one of the episodes. We're driving down this big river. It's called the Parramatta River, and it's very big, and it's a very important river in Sydney. And the Parramatta River ends in Sydney Harbour, where you have the Sydney Opera House. And so we're driving around that, and I'm supposed to be driving the boat, um, singing "Hot Potato," no, singing one of our big songs, and and I remember that we had to look at the camera, sing the song. I'm supposed to be driving the boat right in the middle of Sydney Harbor. There are lots of ferries. It's a bit like San Francisco. And there I am driving the boat, keeping an eye on the big ferries, remembering my lines. And at one point I thought, oh my God, if I do something wrong, we're doomed. The Lost Wiggles are forever gone. But it didn't happen.
I was also going to ask you about the big red car because I know the Mandarin Wiggles and the regular the OG Wiggles were always hooked on a rig on the back. So for you guys, how was that for driving on the back of a bigger car and have people like the Wiggles look strange today? They look different.
Oh, I'll tell you a story. I hope you like this story. When we were filming, driving around on the big red car, and as you would imagine, the big red car, because we're driving all around Sydney, and we're crossing the Sydney Bridge, and that. And at one point, and we're singing and that. And at one point we stopped, and it was the cutest thing because, Murray,
Yes.
the red wiggle, he's very tall,
Yes.
right? He's very tall. He's probably, I don't know, 6'3" or something.
Just
He's
about.
very tall, and I'm not. I'm only 5'6", right? So I'm this little in comparison to. And it was really cute because we stop in one corner and the kids, and one of the kids looking at us, fairly confused, I guess. But it was really cute because the kid looked at me and then asked his mommy, "Mommy, Murray has been shrunk."
I can imagine more people saying, like, why does the Wiggles look more like Jeff today? Or
That's right.
why do they look like more like female? Why Jeff and Anthony look more like females today? I don't know.
Yes.
That's that's
and,
the weirdest
and
thing.
and I think it was interesting because he was very much ahead of his time to have, two female Wiggles and two male Wiggles, and also from different corners of Latin America, with Fernando being from, of Mexican background, Kathy being of Peruvian background. Zoe Zoe's Australian. She has a connection with Uruguay, but I guess it's not as close a connection with the country as with the rest of us, where we're either born in that country or our parents' mother tongue is Spanish. Um, and I have a blank at this moment with my real dear friend Captain Feathersore, because he learned Spanish in Argentina. So
Okay.
we had all accents in the group, which was very interesting.
Hmm. Well, in 2006, The Wiggle Show would air on Playhouse Disney Latin America. What was those experiences like? Do you have any favorite memories during filming? Any favorite songs? And also, why didn't you guys not go on a live tour like the Mandarin Wiggles? Because the Mandarin Wiggles did a couple live shows, but you guys didn't. So what's up
Well,
with
it
that?
was so, I mean, complicated story. I think it's to do with I think it was to do with the fact that we were all in different countries, and it was kind of difficult to bring us together. Um, the I guess the aim was there, the interest was there. Audiences all throughout Latin America were really keen to see us live. Um, I did perform with the Australian Wiggles. I think Kathy and Zoe and myself and Fernando, we had the opportunity to tour with the Australian Wiggles. So it was really interesting because it was a combination of us. We were dancing, we were wiggly dancers, and we had the opportunity to experience what it was like to be, um, in an arena with 30,000 people going nuts about our singing, our dancing. I also had the opportunity to tour with them during one of their Christmas tours, and I play an elf,
Okay.
and I had the cutest outfit. I wish I could keep it. It was just the best outfit to keep. But of course I didn't keep it. But yeah, no, I had great memories. And thanks, buddy, for, giving me the opportunity to reminiscent about my time as the Wiggle.
No problem. And like I said, many fans will love to hear these kinds of stories because you get not a lot of interviews with Los Wiggles or any other international Wiggles. It's just sometimes it's the main Wiggles, not you guys. So
That's
I
right.
loved hearing those different stories and also stories of different performers. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it was, I guess, I always say that I would always remember fondly my time with Los Wiggles, because even today, many years after the series was shown, and now recently, when it's great because you can see Los Wiggles on YouTube, and that's so great. I mean, to tell you something which is fantastic, is so beautiful. My son has a little girl, and her name is Aurora. And Aurora watches Los Wiggles, and Aurora sings the songs, and you could see it's so rewarding for me to see her. And sometimes it's starting to happen where she's making the connection between Francisco, the guy that she sees on the telly, and me. So when sometimes she's singing or she's looking around, and then I sing the song to her ear, and it's very special. Imagine, it's very special to be able to share that with your family. It's really good.
Definitely. And those are great memories to share for a lifetime. And now you guys get to be memorized for many fans now. Because back then, your guys' stuff was not even shown. Only in Latin America, not in the United States, Australia, only bits and pieces. But since YouTube came out, you guys been showing a lot more and more. It's bringing the fans together, and we love it. We love what you guys have
Oh,
been
thank
doing.
you. Thank you very much.
No
The other
problem.
thing I have to say that it's been fantastic to have Los Wiggles on YouTube is because there is a whole legion of new fans that are embracing the show, and I know that because a lot of people who follow me on socials approach me. Even in Instagram, they go and they find me, and I'm very very open to having my fans connecting with me because I know that I am a part of the process of growing up, and it's also great to know that I'm a part of their childhood. So people like you, as you grow older and you remember fondly what you felt when you first saw Los Wiggles, being a fan of the Wiggles, and then having the same song sang in a different language. Um, I think that I know that that is something special, and I value that.
That's great. After your time with the Wiggles, you manage a catalog of artists in Australia. What made you want to switch from a performer to managing different acts, and what was this experience like?
Well, I think it's part of my commitment to showcase Latin American culture to Australians. I think that I had this interest in bringing closer together Australia and Latin America. And I find that music is a very, very powerful language. And I also think that when people see others that come from a different part of the world and they listen to them performing, singing, and their songs, somehow any potential barrier for communication disappears. And there is kind of an admiration for Latin American rhythms and sounds and words and stories. And I think that my role as a first of all, the platform that I had as a Latin American wiggle, in other words, being famous, is it opens doors, and in my case, it allowed me a platform to bring other artists and to tell Australians, well, if you like what I do, listen to. Say, for example, and I give you a few names. There is an Argentinian who was born in Alaska, and his name is Kevin Johansen. So bringing Kevin Johansen to Australia was great because people can listen to him singing in English and singing in Spanish and singing about things that are universal. And likewise, there is this other really cool guy called Martin Buscalia from Uruguay. He is a fabulous guitarist, and he sings beautifully and he tells great stories. And or from Brazil, one of my favorite guitarists in the world is a guy called John Ulloa from a rock band called Pato Fu. Pato Fu is incredible. So to have those people playing here was really, really good. Another band that I really like is called Los Amigos Invisibles. And there is a guy called Cheo, who's also a brilliant guitarist. All of them, I think the thing I admire about all of these bands, another band from Colombia called uh, Aterciopelados. I think the thing in common with all of them, they all have brilliant guitarists. So for me, it was really good to show those musicians in Australia. And the other thing I've done is the opposite, where I've taken Australian musicians to Latin America. So it's a way of bringing the countries closer together. And I think that in these times where, the world could be, a bit difficult, the arts play a really good role to, I guess, to make everybody understand that we're all the same. We're
Yeah,
all the same and we should be, happy.
we all, even as performers, and I get that. even when I perform for a crowd of different race and different religions, it brings music brings everybody together. It
Absolutely.
makes
And
us
I
whole.
think, yeah, and I think it's and there is a sensitivity about artists and an eagerness to connect. And I think that when that happens is magical. So as a promoter, a music presenter, a concert producer, um, I I I like doing that because I have been also on stage and I continue to be on stage. I mean, right now I'm doing some film. I recently played a small part in a fun movie that is about to be premiere, and so all of those things keep me busy, keep me excited.
That's great. I got one last Wiggle question for you. You came back to the Wiggles company a couple times in 2019 for the Emma TV series as a special guest cameo. And in 2021, you helped promote Los Wiggles, the Wiggle Show, coming to YouTube and some content featuring you and Zoe. What was those experience like?
Well, I tell you what, working with Emma is fantastic. Emma is such a wonderful woman, such a fantastic professional, beautiful human being. She's incredibly committed to education. She, of course, I think she's a genius. She's a very, very special person. So working with her, coming into the studio, producing songs. We did a little samba song that is really cute and you know, got me again to dance in outrageous costumes with lots of feathers and sparkles. That was really really nice, and again, it felt like being back home because the Wiggles, it's like a family. It's like a family, and to work with the Wiggles, I think it it requires you to 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 live by their values as well, and those values are a generosity of spirit and friendliness and openness and sincerity and honesty. So all of those values that are cherished. So to be back there at working with Emma or promoting the series, it was great because it's like being back with the family.
And that's great. And people were surprised when they saw that. They were going nuts. Like, we can't believe it. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, what's next? And like, oh, it's so amazing.
Nice.
Um, and talking about your radio show earlier, you have your own radio broadcast. Can you tell me a little bit more about your radio show?
Sure, sure, sure. It's something that I enjoy very much. It's something that I've been doing for 20 years. So I'm very committed to doing the radio show. Um, it started when I moved to this city where I live, in Canberra, which is the capital in Australia. I actually live in two cities. I live in a city called the Gold Coast, in a neighborhood called Surfers Paradise, which it really is a paradise. And then I also spent time in Canberra, which is a city of government. It's a really beautiful city. If I could just show you now outside my window, it's very much like a changing of the colors where the trees have every color in oh, it's beautiful, the reds, the yellows, the greens, the browns, absolutely stunning. So in this beautiful environment, I do the radio show. It's called the Arts Cafe, and I get to do similar to what you do, interview artists, tell people about what's going on around the arts in Canberra, play music from around the world, play really groovy music, jazz, blues, world music, intelligent pop. Yeah, it's an opportunity to be in touch with the people of the city where I live, a city that I love very much.
And um, due to your time with the Wiggles, it opened many doors. Like you said, it opened many opportunities for you, and including a small movie part you did last year. Can you tell me a little bit more about the movie? If you can you
Sure, sure,
tell us a
sure,
little bit
sure.
about
And
it?
it's I guess it's an art. It's a local. It's a feature film. I guess we can call it an art film, but it's a dark comedy.
Okay.
It's a dark comedy, and it's a little bit gory, and and it's called Snatchers. And there was a famous film many years ago called The Return of the Body Snatchers. Well, this film is about a couple of guys that trying to make a buck selling body parts. But it's a comedy, so don't worry.
Don't worry,
And
I laugh at horror, so horror is
yes,
my comedy.
oh great, and it's a fun film. It's called Snatchers. It's going to premiere around Halloween, but it's been recently invited to premiere at an international film festival in England. I play a part. I play a small part, but it's a very interesting part because it happens at the beginning of the film, and I think that it sets the scene for what's going to happen. And I won't tell you more about the story because I want you to watch it. It's Snatchers, the film, really good, and it's interesting because I got the part, and you relate to this as a performer. I got the part after I auditioned for a play called Art by a playwright called Jasmina Reza that I like very much, and I went for the audition for one of the parts, which I didn't get.
Hmm.
And of course, I was sad. I was a bit disappointed that I didn't get the part. Later on, I actually went to the theater to see the play when they performed the play. And I was, excited because it was well done, but a little bit sad because I didn't get to play the part that I thought I was going to play. But a few months later, out of the blue, the director, the director of the play that I auditioned for that I didn't get, she called me and said, "Oh, hi, my name is Shelley. I remember you from the audition for the play Art, and you were fantastic. You were really, 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 really funny, and I'm filming a movie. I'm directing a movie, and I have a part for you, and I think you'd be perfect." So there you go. You never know what something is going to lead you to. And if you don't get a part at an audition, it doesn't matter. The good thing is that the director will have a good memory of you. You impress somebody, and then they call you and they get you the part. So that was really, really good.
Definitely. And first impressions are the best impressions.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there any tips you can give me or any upcoming performers what I'd like to, or what it takes to be a performer?
I tell you what, there is something very simple, very, very simple that I guess I guide my performance life by it, and it's truth. I think that as long as you aim to be truthful in whatever you do, if you are playing the guitar or pretending to play the guitar, be truthful to it. If you are um, uh, if you are on stage, if you are in front of the camera, if you're behind the microphone, um, I think I always say that sincerity, honesty, and truthfulness get you very far. Don't pretend to be somebody else. Just be yourself and be true to yourself, and people will see that, and that way you ignite their imagination as to the things that you can do if they help you, if they allow you to do them.
Hmm. That's great. That's great advice for a lot of performers. And mostly, yes, being true to yourself is one of the best ones. Um, got one last question for you. Since I'm a Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury impersonator, do you have any favorite Michael Jackson or Queen songs?
Oh, so many, because they're
I,
both they are both quintessential. I guess they are part of the history of contemporary music, right? And also, of course, separating the man from the performer, which is always important to see
Mhm.
them under the light of what they contribute to humanity. I mean, of course, when you think of Michael Jackson, you think of not only him as a singer, but also as an incredible dancer,
Yes.
as an incredible dancer. But out of the entire catalog of music, I like the song Ben.
Hmm.
I like the song Ben because it's there is this profound message about accepting a person, accepting things, and embracing and loving. In the case of Ben, it's a rat, and it's such a beautiful, touching song, and of course, Freddie Mercury. Can I tell you something? I
Sure.
actually I actually saw Freddie Mercury in concert.
Wow.
I saw him performing in my native country, Venezuela, with Queen. Queen went to Venezuela and performed in Venezuela, and I was there like you, a teenager, looking at these gods on stage performing, and it was incredible. And the most beautiful thing is I went there with my beloved brother who passed away. So whenever I listen to Freddie Mercury singing, I sing of my beloved brother, and I couldn't even tell you my favorite song because the entire catalog of music by a guy who had the most pristine, powerful voice in singers have been singing, that's Freddie Mercury.
I always tell people that's why the last question is always the hardest because they have to choose. Like, oh, there's so many to choose from. But Frank, before we go, do you have anything you want to promote? Tell people where they can find you at, or
Well,
what is next in the
first of
future
all,
for you, and also what's next in the
first,
future?
well, first of all, thank you so much for this conversation. It was a very intelligent conversation, transparent and beautiful. So quite a great opportunity to talk with a very intelligent young man. So thank you for that.
Thank you
And
so much.
in regards to what's ahead, well, at this moment I'm excited to see what else happens in as an actor. I've been auditioning for a few parts. There is a British television series that is going to be filmed in Brisbane, and I recently auditioned for that, and it's looking like I'm going to get it, which would be great. So I'm trying to take advantage of um, my global kind of look. So I'm being more adventurous in the kind of castings that I go for. I continue to present my radio show. Of course, the radio show is called the Arts Cafe. It's on Friday at noon in Australian time. The radio station is called Art Sound. So the website is artsound.fm. And of course, I invite people to follow me on socials. And Instagram is Frank number one Madrid. And so it's always happy to chat with my fans, and always and of course I'll be delighted to talk to you anytime in the future.
Oh, definitely. If I can get the other Wiggles on here, we'll definitely have a Los Wiggles reunion.
Excellent. We can
That
work on that.
definitely we could try it. But thank you so much, Frank, for being a part of the show. It's such an honor, and for many, for me to many people who probably will tell you this, thank you for being a part of our childhood.
Thank you.
It's such
Thank you for accepting. Thank you for celebrating my contribution. And I look forward to our next conversation.
definitely thank you so much, Frank. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Buddy and Friends. I'm your host, Buddy Katz, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.